In this video, I'm going to show you how to prepare financial statements from scratch for a Surface company. This follows from our Surface company financial statement model building assignment, and we're preparing financial statements for Skitch company, which is a Surface company. And you can see here, I already set up the title of the company, which is Skitch company, and the title of the financial statement that I'm preparing, income statement. And the third row is very important. It's the period for which your financial statement covers. In this case, it's for the whole year ended June 30th, 2012. Sometimes we could be preparing financial statements only for 2 months, and you would actually say that here. You would actually say for 2 months ended a certain date. But for this Skitch company situation here, we're doing a whole year ended June 30th, 2012. And down here is completely blank. And that's where the excitement starts, because we get to build our own financial statements for Skitch company instead of having to work from a pre-programmed file. So just to refresh what I talked about in the first video, you should have already downloaded the PFS file, and it comes with this information here, which includes the general ledger accounts and the associated amounts. And your job is to determine which of these accounts belong to the income statement, and which of them belong in the balance sheet, and which of them go to the statement of owner's equity, and build useful worksheets for this company so they can reuse the worksheet for the financial statements year after year. And just to remind everybody, we're not doing a single step income statement, we're doing a multi-step, because a single step sometimes gets too condensed. And for the balance sheet, we're doing a classified one. And we're also doing a statement of owner's equity. So I already set up an extra worksheet here and called it financial statement. You can do the same. And I'm just going to start in inputting account titles down this column. So since it's a multi-step, I would start off with titles. And the first thing I would type in would be service revenue. Again, there's a lot of freedom as to how you call these things. You can call it sales, revenues. A lot of things are accepted. So you can be exploring with different titles, what titles you would prefer. And then the next thing I would do is go back to the problem information and see what accounts belong there. So I note that there's only one sales account. So I would just go ahead and type in sales here. And I just want to point out a function to you. This one is already indented, but you can feel free to explore different ways that you prefer how it looks. If you want it more indented, you can do that. But for now, I'm just going to go with one indent. And then the next one would be operating expenses, title. And down here, there would be a listing of all the operating expenses. So I need to go back to the problem information to sort out which expenses are actually operating expenses. So these look like they're balance sheet accounts. Advertising is an operating expense. These don't look like they belong in the income statement. General expenses are operating. Interest expense is not operating. And looks like salaries is also operating expenses. So I go back here to my financial statements and type in the correct expenses in the correct area, expense. And advertising expense, general expense. And then down here in this row would be my operating income, since sales less all the operating expense would be operating income. And I would want this to be more indented because it tells me that it's going to be in this column. And then next comes my non-operating income. And expense. So this is a title, so there will be no numbers along here. And then let's go back to the problem information and see which ones are non-operating. So it looks like only interest expense is our non-operating income and expense. There's no non-operating income, so we can just leave that. And then type in interest expense here. And we want to indent that properly, and it looks like it's already preset. And then the last row would be my net income. And I do want that a little bit more indented, like this. Okay, so there will be a lot of going back and forth between your setup financial statement worksheet to the problem worksheet, and that is okay. You can go back and forth and type in the correct titles. And now to the account numbers, actually the amounts that belong to the different accounts. So for the sales, it was actually 943,500. And for the salaries expense, it was 621,450. And then for the advertising expense, it's 138,750. And for general expense, it's 112,350. And then let's see, the interest expense is going to carry over here, and that is for 6,750. And it looks like some of these texts are in different colors, and I don't want that, so it's a good chance for me to show you how to change the color of the text. And it's going to be here, and I just want all of them to be black. And then it changed it, okay? And so I need some subtotals here. So for here, I would do an underline for the whole thing, and then I would need to subtotal here of all these three amounts. So I would go equal sum, all of this, and then that would give me my total operating expenses. And if I go sales less total operating expenses, will give me my operating income. So I would naturally put a formula here for the operating income. So this in C15 here, I would go equal C10 minus C15, 14 I mean. And so that would give my operating income amount. And then I come down here to subtract my interest expense. So I need a border here in this. And then this one for the net income, I need a formula also. So it will be equal C15 less C17 and enter. And looks like that's my net income, 64,200. And usually we do a double underline. So I go here and then like that, okay? And I'm going to show you briefly how to format these numbers so they look all lined up with commas in it. So usually I like to put $sign for the first number of the column and the last. So there will be a $sign here in B12, and also in C18. So I go ahead and set up those formats first. So I select C10 and go here, and I pick usually accounting, and looks like they already gave me some decimal points and commas, but I don't really need the decimals, so I decrease the decimal point, and so that looks pretty good. It's all lined up. And I would do the same for this one. You can either set it up just like how I did, accounting, and then decrease the decimals, or I'll show you another way to do that. So let me undo my actions. So I pick whatever format I want to apply in this cell, and I select the cell with the format that I like, so which in this case is C10, and I pick this format paintbrush. So Excel would know how to copy everything that's in here that's formatted, and then I apply it to the one cell that I want of the same format. And I can keep doing that. I can select this format since we have one more that I want $sign to. So I select the paintbrush for this one and apply it to this one. And since this didn't have the double underline, it took away the double underline, but that's not a problem. I can always add it back. And then I go ahead and format my other numbers, which is going to be number. And let's add commas to it and decrease the decimals. And same for this one, number, add the comma and decrease the number sign. And same for these two, number, add the commas and decrease the decimals. And there you have it, a formatted income statement, multi-step income statement for Skitch Company.